Hello everyone, and welcome to Charged. Charged is an exciting collection of multimedia resources for the African and international creative economy. It is curated and produced by HEVA, Africa's first dedicated creative economy finance, business support, and knowledge facility. We, the HEVA team, are thrilled to welcome you into a space where you will enjoy learning and engaging directly about the creative and cultural space. Charged will feature input from our wide community of creatives, business owners, investors, policymakers, and others. We are certain that you will pick up on something to help you along your creative business's journey, wherever you may be. This project is enabled by the Innovative Financing Initiative for Culture, IFIC, and we are grateful for the support of our sponsors, the EU Commission and the French Development Agency, AFD. The resources of Charged include audio and video interviews, short clips, articles, and more. We're super happy to welcome you to one today. Do let us know what you think on our social media channels using the hashtag Charged. We are at HEVA Fund on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For now, sit back and enjoy. Harriet, it's really, really wonderful to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And of course, Harriet's Botanicals has really been making necessary and essential waves in Kenya because of the kind of gaps that it's able to bridge, the ways in which you guys, your customer care, and the results of the traditional remedies that you're preparing and distributing are having among their target audience.
Okay.
And it's really amazing that you've been able to give us a little bit of time to talk about the ways in which your business has grown and how getting a grant has worked for you. Okay. But it would be great for the audience to hear from you exactly. What is your name? What exactly do you do? And how did you get into doing this particular work?
Okay, so my name is Harriet Ng'ok, and I am the founder stroke CEO of Harriet's Botanicals. And literally, I got into this. It's a company that actually retails miti shamba, that is at the moment sourced mainly from the Rift Valley and places like the Mau Forest, or those types of forests, even the Aberdares, as long as you have a similar type of forest. We also source from dryland forests because we've put together like a formulation from different practitioners depending on which we thought was most effective. And so it's, what we call miti dawa, or traditional medicine, indigenous medicine, where what we call an apothecary, that would be a good terminology to use if you were in Europe, for instance. And ours is just natural medicine. So what we are trying to do really is take the medicine that has been used traditionally over thousands of years, all these secret formulas, and bring them to an urban and diaspora audience, because a lot of us don't have access to them anymore. So like, let's say if you were 80 years ago, if you felt sick or you were feeling a certain way about something, somebody would give you a herb, or somebody would point to a tree or like a bush or a root, and that would be your medicine. We didn't have modern medicine as we know it today. So my focus has really been when I say the urban market. For me, I suffer from a condition called endometriosis, even though I'm asymptomatic. So you see, I've been a concussionist all my life trying to solve this problem since my period has been very painful, or was very painful, from when I was 14, even in high school. There's always that one girl in the class who has a terrible period, and it was me for my high school years. So I was always like on evening primrose or this supplement, because people will tell you all kinds of things. Right now we Google trying to find information. How can we help? And having been through the gamut of like allopathic medication, going through surgery, multiple doctors, and being told so many different things. Some people put you on the pill, to like either kill your period or something. Some, as I was telling you, will even induce menopause as they treat things like endometriosis. You get to a point in your life where you need a solution that works, and preferably let it be natural. Because you still want to retain your capabilities in terms of fertility and creativity. Now, fertility is extremely important for me, and creativity, not because people may want to procreate, but because being fertile and creativity go together. Typically, if you're fertile, it also means you can birth your own projects. So I always tell women and men, in the sense that don't, it's almost like somebody's taken away your hand.
Right.
But because it's not visible to the naked eye, you think it's okay, that it's okay to be infertile. But actually, all that, even a hormonal imbalance, has an effect on your mind, on how you feel, on your mood, and resultantly on your relationships, on your finances.
Right.
So, for me, I wanted people to have that awesome impact. Like, wow, I feel so good. I'm so energized. Oh, I'm so happy. My mood is incredible. Oh my, these are my fertile days. My libido is so high. I just walk around feeling good because it translates into every element of your life.
Right.
And that's why I say to people, our dawahs are transformative. That is exactly what I mean.
That's really interesting when you point out that and then when you look at it coming from the other side, that infertility can be a sign of a hormonal imbalance, which is actually affecting your life in multiple other ways.
Absolutely. Even if you think about our male product, because some people talk about erectile dysfunction and they think it's funny.
Yeah.
They just think that this person has this problem that is to do with them.
Yeah.
But there's such a big link with that ED, with heart problems, with diabetes and other illnesses, or even or
even just stress,
Yes, stress and pressure and lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Or like unmet expectations.
It's very, it's really tricky, and I'm really glad to be having this conversation with you because I have a health background.
Okay.
And the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that younger and younger men are having to use, are finding themselves having to use, erectile dysfunction medicine.
Yes.
And nobody's really kind of studying to find out what exactly is going on.
Yes.
What is the root idea behind being a 20-year-old who ideally is approaching a sexual peak.
Absolutely.
If they've not already arrived at it, and feeling like they need the same Viagra that somebody who's 60 needs.
Absolutely. In fact, most of our clients for ED are young people, young men in their 20s.
Yep.
Young, recently married men. And a lot of them are struggling because either they overused Viagra when they were in university, or they overused steroids, or maybe overuse of drugs and alcohol, or just general stress. General stress. So we are seeing a lot of those kind of people, and it's very interesting. If you go to the village, the young men are very, virile.
Like their problem is not ED.
It is not. No. Their problem is, they can have too many kids.
Yeah.
Here it's the exact opposite.
Right.
And now with depression coming up, in the urban areas and becoming common, there's such a link between the fact that if down there isn't working, what else is not working? So that's sort of like, the whole mind, body, spirit link that we want to kind of like bring out a little bit more. So, in the West, for instance, mind, body, spirit, everybody thinks it's connected, of course.
Yeah.
If you're healthy, you feel good. There's a connection. There's a mental connection.
Yes.
If your blood is flowing well and you drink enough water and you exercise, it has, you have mental clarity.
Yeah.
Maybe you have vision. But over here, it's not really spoken about that way.
Yeah.
And then in the village, it's taken for granted.
Yeah.
You're healthy, you walk around, you drink, you eat good food, good home food. You feel strong.
Yeah.
Even in your 60s, your 70s, your 80s. It's just taken for granted.
Yeah.
But this is what we want to bring back for Africans.
Could you talk to us about the journey of Harriet's Botanicals when you started? Because you are concocting all for yourself, but then there's a jump between concocting things for yourself and then deciding that I want to concoct them not just for myself but for others like me, and then even wider ranges of products for more people. And so what has that journey been like for you? Essentially.
Okay, so for me, I was concocting for myself.
Yeah.
And for my best friend was on her way to a hysterectomy. So I had this friend who every time I concocted, I'd have one for me, one for her. Right. And then she'd give me some feedback, it's better. And she just kept coming back. Every month, she'd show up to get some of her
bottle.
Right. And for that, we were just treating pain.
Yeah.
So I'd say that my pain had gone to 50%. And this was way back, I think in 2014.
Wow.
Way back, I was just happy to just manage my pain.
Yeah.
When this particular product showed up and I gave her, she was on her way to a hysterectomy.
Right.
And her siblings, 2 of them had hysterectomies.
Right.
And that's why I was like, please don't do it.
Yes.
Just try this. And at the time she said the kind of chunks and chunks of mud-like blood was coming out.
Yeah.
And she said she was losing so much blood. She was anemic. She almost fainted.
Oh my God.
And the doctor was like, we've just got to take out your uterus.
Yeah.
And that time I didn't know much about that. All I knew was I feel pain during my period. I didn't know much about hysterectomies or any other type of surgery.
Yeah.
So it was just a suggestion. Then what then happened is both of us were losing weight because of this product and really beginning to look young. So somebody mentioned in our class group, hey, Kwani, what are these two taking? What's up with these two youngies?
Yeah.
And then I think she blurted it out. Tell her to give you Arorwet. And I'm telling you, that month was crazy.
What?
On that WhatsApp group.
You went from 2 people to exponential.
Yes, it was me and her.
Yeah.
And then I was bottling them in like 2-liter Fanta bottles.
Right.
So I don't even drink Fanta, but I'd go buy Fanta. I'd be like, who do I give this soda to?
Yeah.
I bottle them, and from the house I boil in a sufuria.
Yeah.
And then like the demand was growing and growing and growing, and the same group was now telling me, we need for men, we need this. Then they're giving me feedback. It also does this. It also does this. Say it also. I'm like, how do you know it does that? Well, it did it for me.
Wow.
Even the libido effect, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Until everybody started talking about it in that same group.
You know, for Africans to talk about libido in public, that's a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, for women to say, hey.
Yeah. Especially women.
Yeah, this thing is a bit crazy. Then there was now a code.
Right.
If you're getting that effect, you put it in the group and say, oh, you know, I've got the Arorwet effect.
I love that it's called the Arorwet effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all these women are in their, I mean, we're now in our late 40s.
Yeah.
So for me, because my friend had fibroids, so I thought, oh, great. This product is for women over a certain age who have fibroids and pain. I was only solving 2 problems.
Yeah.
Pain and fibroids.
Yeah.
Wait, everybody started giving it to their sister, their cousin, their daughter. Because a lot of these people now started giving 21-year-old girls who have extreme pain, 18-year-old girls who just like are laid out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're giving them my product. In fact, they're buying it and sharing it out in another container.
Yeah.
And that's when now it just went crazy.
That's amazing.
You know?
Yeah.
And at that time, I thought I was so amazing. I was selling like 40 bottles a month. I thought I was so amazing. I was like, wow, this is so good.
Yeah.
Then I went to 80 bottles a month. I was like, oh. Then HEVA came along.
Yeah.
And then with time, when I did the grant and I went now to the village.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were able to show, sort of like now bring it back home to the cultural practitioners.
Yeah.
And like when COVID started, my business just went, psh.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy. So now I'm like, how did I live on 80 bottles a month? But it was still good money. I could fuel my car.
Yeah.
In fact, I was doing consulting.
Yeah.
So I was using this dawa
Yes.
to fuel, because you get paid like much later when you've done consulting work.
Yes.
So for me, I always had like a bit of money. I always had money.
And so it was like this dawa was like your side hustle.
Yes.
And
I just thought this is just something that I do.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that I can fill my car. I can have a coffee very comfortably. I always have bundles. If I need to pay the Wi-Fi, I pay the Wi-Fi. Then suddenly now the dawa took over.
Right.
Suddenly consulting money looked very little. I was like, what? You mean I'm spending all this time doing this?
Yeah.
When this is actually what's supporting it.
Right.
And that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm going full time for this.
Let's talk about how, and I think this was like later on in the list, but it's come up now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how it is that your business did well during COVID, and especially like stratospherically well, because that's not the experience for the vast majority of business owners, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, funny enough, now as they reduce, as the restrictions are removed, my sales are stabilizing.
Easy.
Which is annoying me. You know, I was like, oh, come on. So it's very strange that I was actually in Bomet at the time because I was in the lockdown.
Right.
So I didn't know what was going on. But the minute the government announced it was March, then there was the idea that this thing is going on. April, they started shutting down.
Yes.
May was crazy. The business was just like poof.
Wow.
And that's when now we were all working from home.
Yeah.
But we were moving bottles of dawa around this city like contraband.
Wow.
You know, we're just like, we need 100 bottles. The next day, we need 100 bottles. We need 100 bottles. And I was in Bomet coordinating.
Yeah.
Do this, buy this, do this. And I was like, what's going on? So then I went to Kericho. And I now went to look at my corporate account because, you know, from your phone, you can't know what's going on.
Yes.
And I said, I want to check my balance. And the woman gave me I was like, can you go back and find out?
This can't be my
This is
balance.
not my... Excuse me, but you've given me the wrong account.
Yeah.
She came back and I was like, what? Sales are crazy. And that was like now May, June, July, August. Our sales were like, wow.
What?
September, October, it was too much. So then we started now really building a team, right? And that was last year.
Right.
We now started saying a team, structures, then the whole thing of distribution.
Yeah.
Because if you're in Eldoret, you don't want to hear that Nairobi is sending you a bottle. You want to get it in Eldoret.
Yes, you do.
You know, so now beginning to understand the retail space.
Yes.
Now, you see, now, are we retail? Are we distributors? Are we, because people used to ask me, what exactly are you? I say, I'm a miti shamba.
Yes.
And they're like, no, you're a retailer.
Yeah.
So, you know, like thinking, which hat do I wear in all this?
Yeah.
So for us, it's as if, especially once, you know, people got so scared, I think, of dying or of being unwell in a way that they didn't understand.
Yeah.
They just went straight for traditional medicine. I think COVID built traditional medicine.
And I think maybe there's also a thing to say there about like the kind of comfort people derive from things that are familiar to them.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
As opposed to like going to a doctor and being told, oh, go and take this random thing from a random box.
Yes. Because you see, COVID is it's foreign. Yeah. It's not the same as having pneumonia.
No.
And you know, it's tried and tested. Some people have had pneumonia.
And I mean, even to be fair, even though COVID is a pneumonia, but that's not how people understand it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's not how people imagine that they just think you're going to be somewhere in isolation.
Yes.
So they are so scared of the unknown that they quickly reach for the known.
Yes.
And the known includes things that are from the shamba, you know, like rabwoni or sweet potatoes or yams or managu and saget. And like, why do I eat chicken, like fried chicken? I should be having my kienyeji chicken.
Yeah.
And you see, Miti Shamba represents home. So for me, I really wanted to bring that experience. Like, if you can't get to your grandma in Vihiga or in Kakamega or in Asembo or in Kericho, you can get the dawa here. So that was my initial idea, to bring all the Miti Shamba to cities and then distribute it, type of thing.
There's a way in which, and it's really great that you've brought it up, this body of knowledge, and you've illustrated so well that there's truly been a gap in the ways in which especially people in cities don't have access to this kind of knowledge. And so what do you think we need to start doing so that people are more aware about the ways in which traditional medicine can be really useful for them in different ways, in the different spaces that they are, especially when you started life, you're distant from this knowledge because maybe you were 844, you know, you went straight into formal education, you moved straight into a city, so you didn't necessarily have the village experience of being a little bit closer to these medicines than people who grew up in a more rural context. Okay.
So, I mean, yes, for me, for instance, I was 844. I was born in Nairobi.
Yeah.
I'm a proper Nairobian. I speak better Sheng than Kalenjin type of thing. When I go home and I talk a bit of Kalenjin, everybody laughs at me.
Yeah, they're just like, no, this isn't
a joke. The kids are always waiting to hear me say something so they can laugh.
Yeah.
So what I found so intriguing was, first of all, the names of the plants, because everybody knows them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're walking with like 10 kids, they'll just be yelling, Arorwet, Sagawaita. As they walk, they yell the names of the trees.
Yeah.
Or of the bushes, right?
Yeah.
So I got so intrigued, like, I don't know them. So I was determined to, first of all, maintain the names. So I'd just go around asking people, what is this plant? Then I'd just write it down in my broken Kalenjin or whatever. I'd write it down, I'd think about it. Then ask them, what does it really do? And what I must say, a formal education helped me to translate it.
Right.
Because even people ask me, what is endometriosis in Kipsigis?
Yes.
You know? What is it exactly like? What are these diseases? Because if you go back and ask the mamas, a question has come up about follicles.
Yes.
How do you explain follicles to the mamas?
In Kalenjin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then they'll tell you, ambia huyo tu akunywe dawa, wacha kusumbua. Kunywa dawa. I was like, that's not a good answer, but thanks.
Yeah.
And then I'd go and translate it to my customer service.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, okay, the follicles are this and this and this is what's happening in your body, and there's inflammation and there's a direct translation, because now we actually have translated our products into other languages, into Luya, Luo, obviously Kiswahili.
Yeah.
We're doing Meru, we're doing Kisi, we've done Kikuyu and Kamba.
Yeah.
And we're in all these vernacular stations.
That's amazing.
So my idea is that it must travel to everybody. And the only way we can do that is now to translate it. So now we have a Kalenjin 4-minute thing talking about these illnesses, adenomyosis, PCOS in Kalenjin. So people are like, oh yes, that's what I have. Oh, that's what it's called. Do you see, talking about inflammation in the local language, talking about fibroids, uvimbi, things like that, even in Kiswahili, even saying endometriosis, explaining exactly what it is. So for me, first is that direct translation. Number 2, using the culture as a way of like self-esteem, building countrywide,
right,
sort of like, you know, as like having a positive psychological impact on everybody.
Yeah.
Because these are our natural resources, right?
Yeah.
And the only way we can grow them or even like monetize them sustainably, of course, is if everybody's using them. If the whole world is using them. Now, if we change the names to English, like, you know, you can call it Sagawaita, you can call it English knobwood, then it's kind of not really an African product anymore.
It really stops being from
Absolutely.
home. Yeah.
It could be from England.
Yeah.
You know, it could be from even Arorwet is Cape Ash. I thought, why was it called that if it's indigenous to here?
Already,
yes,
there's a problem.
Yes.
Because we're not dealing with capes here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There is no Cape Town here.
Yeah.
Or Eastern Cape or Western Cape.
Yes.
So it's for me, it was very important that some people said to me, change the names because of bias, because people don't like this community. I said, that is exactly the problem, is that you don't have a positive experience of another community, or you only hear negative things about
or you don't have a positive experience of diverse cultures, because I think we are a deeply traumatized people because of all of the political conflict and what have you that diversity in culture has brought. But then what's the opposite of that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that if the Rendile, for instance, have a natural birth control, whatever it is, that is so amazing, that doesn't have any side effects. I mean, the fact that us in Nairobi or whether in Western Kenya are now imbibing this product from Rendile, it changes a lot about our perspective.
Yeah, it does.
It's like it changes our minds.
It does.
It changes how we feel about that community.
Yeah.
And they're no longer those people in Northeastern. So it's also like it brings us all together. Culture brings us all together. So traditional medicine is just one element of culture.
Yeah.
And then the fact that we can now export it, because I'm very interested in growing an African company.
Yeah.
You know, because I see other companies coming from coming from Sweden, everywhere, Korea, India.
Yeah.
They set up here.
Yeah.
Then they grow these companies, and these companies are magnificent, doing so well in Africa.
Yeah.
What about African companies
doing well in Africa?
Yes, and doing well abroad. Can we take our medicine out there? Can we take our ideas? Can we take pilau, like the way now West Africans have taken jollof everywhere?
Yes.
We haven't taken pilau or even mahamris or something like that. So that was really kind of that is my vision, my wider vision.
Okay. What do you've been very intentional, and I remember you talking about, for instance, the kids walking and then naming the plants and what have you. And you're very intentional about making sure that your work is deeply interwoven with the communities that it comes from and that it's rooted in. And so how do you, as Harriet's Botanicals, go about doing this, and what does including the community entail for HB? So
for us, I mean, the community is critical to sort of like community are part and parcel of us, because without the community we don't really have anything to stand on, because the community has to say yes, it works, because they're using it. They're the first users, right? Number two, they have to be bought into our idea. If they think we're just exploiting them, we go there, we pay very little, we exhaust the forest, and we move on. The community will turn against us. Negative sentiment will destroy the business, and we will not be able to grow, and we leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So for us, we as a company have spent a lot of money on the community in terms of buying feedstock and buying it at a good price. So we spend, like, per kilo, they get more from feedstock than they get from tea or anything else, right? Or in terms of our sustainable, harvesting programs, going out there and running something for 100,000, spending 100,000 in like 3 days. We're going to go here. Everyone's going to be a volunteer, but a paid volunteer. So every time we go, we spend money, number one, even just directly giving money, because it changes everything. It's not saying we're going to give money to this NGO, which is then going to tell you do X, Y, Z. No, we say we're going to put money back in the hands of the community
directly,
so that they can completely understand the value of what they have and they can be incentivized, right? Then of course we renovated Litain Mission Hospital, especially the last bit we did was the maternity ward, because I felt like that's exactly what Arorwet is all about, giving birth. So now that we've come up with the medicine, we want to make sure that the women have a place that they can go and be attended to. So in terms of just making sure allopathic medicine is meeting traditional medicine, also for research purposes, for raising awareness, so that women are not like, people aren't hiding in the village with an illness, feeling as if, oh my God, I can only take traditional medicine. I really believe in the interplay of the modern and of the ancient, right? Then also we're working on a school So, I mean, it's difficult to sort of just sum it up in one short paragraph.
Yeah.
But we're completely intertwined with the community. We work with practitioners, talking to, the elderly, the ones in their 80s and their 90s, and recording them.
Yes.
So that even if we don't understand fully what they're saying, now we have a record. One day somebody can translate.
Yeah.
One day it is on there. And these records now, this is a digital world. You can store it anywhere. You can give it to someone. You can send it in a WhatsApp. You're just transmitting. You can put it on a radio station.
Yeah.
You can put it on television. So in a sense, even though we're losing touch, we're now gaining it in a new way.
Of course.
In this sort of like digitally empowered way. So those are some of the things that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's an interesting point that you've brought up with regard to this interesting interplay between proprietary information and information that's public. So, for instance, in the community, people know already that Sagawaita treats respiratory illness.
Yeah.
And then for you, you're packaging something that is yours.
Exactly.
But it doesn't fully belong to you. But your formulation is proprietary.
Yes.
So how did you go about kind of having this IP relationship that didn't seek to take away from the community, but was very intentional about protecting what you had developed with the knowledge that you'd gotten?
Okay, so the thing is, the way community knowledge works, traditional knowledge, is that you can't stop people using that traditional medicine.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like maybe now if you develop Panadol, you can't stop people. You can stop people somewhere developing their own Panadol.
The exact Panadol that you have developed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't work with traditional knowledge.
No.
That's even why I let people know what it is.
Yes.
Right? So that it's not a secret.
No.
And
like if you went to the tree and you decided to boil from it, you can probably generate something like it.
You can.
If you can.
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
Now, the difference is what is in my formulation. Because you can gather the same exact 8 trees.
Yeah.
And your formulation will still be different from mine.
It's true.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can formulate, you can do whatever you want, but it cannot be my formulation.
Yeah.
Which is a mix of different formulas from different practitioners. So at the same time, I can't take a practitioner's formula and make it mine.
No.
Knowing very well that they don't have access to IP, IP laws or the IP resources, right? Because then that means I'm exploiting practitioners.
Yeah.
So I have to create my own thing.
Yes.
So even the name, for instance, we were able to patent, trademark the name Arorwet, Harriet's Botanicals Arorwet. But you can't just do Arorwet.
By itself.
It's owned by the community. It was even there before the community.
Yeah.
So people ask, or the question really is, was the community there before or was the tree there before? Who owns who? Who owns what? So traditional knowledge works like that. At the same time, we must monetize. So if people can come up with different formulations and protect, because you can't grow your business if everybody can replicate it.
No.
Right?
No.
And if you can't grow your business, you can't employ people, you can't export. There's a whole bunch of other things that are happening outside of the community. Right? So outside of what's happening there, the people here need it. And they need something that is protected, that is correctly formulated, that is patented, and that they know nobody's going to mess with the ingredients. Yeah.
So we talked about earlier the fact that your business got a grant,
yes.
right? And how important was it to you to be specific about what you needed when you were applying for the grant? Like what is the thing that made you realize, actually, I should probably apply for this grant?
Okay, I mean, for me, the grant, when I came across it, it completely suited exactly what I was doing, because I was in culture, right? And then I had this formulation. Nobody else was doing traditional indigenous medicine like in that particular way.
No.
So for me, it sort of fit like a glove. Now, the more important bit was which elements of the grant fit where, or what am I trying to develop within the business that fits in with this grant? Because you have to be quite specific.
Yes.
So, for instance, you might think that you want to do branding,
right? But
that particular grant is not about branding. It could be about impact. It could be about infrastructure. It could be just about IP. So you have to be quite specific in terms of understanding what is this grant about. And more than usual, the grant is usually not what it is that you're thinking is most important.
Right.
Perhaps you want to hire more people, and maybe the grant is about feedstock. So it's really just a skill that you gradually come into, and depending on how badly you want that money and how much it will do for you, you will do the work. Yeah.
So now for you, what are the exact needs that you pinpointed and you said, this is exactly where this money is going to go?
For me, it was the community, because even if I'm selling bottles, that money goes back into paying whoever is helping me distribute or, helping me run the business. But I didn't have money for community development.
Right.
I didn't have money to sort of like jump in the car, fuel it, and stay in a hotel. And then when I go to meet the community, again, I have to have the volunteers.
Yes.
If I'm meeting 40 people, for instance, then maybe each of them will get 1,000. Maybe we will have to have a meal for about 10,000.
Yeah.
And there's other activities going on. It's going to be an expensive venture, maybe 80,000. That's the money I didn't have at that time.
Yeah, and you needed it.
Of course I did,
Yeah.
Then I wanted to also document videos, get some photography. At the time I was thinking we need to photograph all these trees and like get an archive because this knowledge is disappearing.
Right.
So how will I demonstrate or what is so important at this particular point, which was the archiving, the cultural documentation, the interpretation, the engaging with practitioners. That was, I couldn't afford to do it at the time.
Yeah.
And that's what HEVA grant helped me to do. Yes.
When you were asked to demonstrate the kind of impact that you are having, how are you able to kind of position yourself in that narrative of that direct social impact that you're having in the community?
So for me, it was quite easy because I was helping women in reproductive health.
Right.
So now when you widen that demographic, you're talking about 40% of women at some point
are going to have a reproductive health problem.
Yes. And, whatever age, it could be menopause.
Yeah.
It could be, they've just come into puberty and something is going on, or they want to have a baby, or something has gone wrong, or, or they're just in pain.
Yes.
Just dealing with pain alone.
Because people are just always ignoring women's pain.
Yes. I mean, even for me, I used to think my pain was just like, no, it's a joke.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? It took me so long to recognize this is a serious issue and this is a medical issue.
Right.
Right. So there's the whole thing of women. Number two, practitioners, who many of them are elderly.
Yes.
And like people who've sort of been discarded. Nobody thinks much of them. They don't have a very strong formal education background. Many of them like quit school a lot. They didn't even go to school. Many are the children of practitioners. This information was passed on orally. So they're not really valued by the community. Nobody respects them. And because we have allopathic medicine, people even call them witches.
Wow.
They're like, usiende kwa mchawi.
Yeah.
And then because it's all oral, not documented, not tested, and not like measured, then it's seen like, it's all abracadabra.
Yes.
So they get marginalized even for their intuitive knowledge.
Yes.
You know the way they say women can tell you're pregnant.
Yeah.
That sort of intuitive knowledge is now marginalized.
Yeah.
These women are witches, they know I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found there was so much sort of discrimination against practitioners, against women, against the elderly.
Yeah.
People just think, this person used to go around the forest. People who can go into the forest, those are rare breed now.
Yeah.
To go deep into the forest and find those herbs.
Yeah.
They're very rare. But they're not respected.
No.
Maybe somebody picking tea is respected more.
Because they can sell the tea and bring money home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or an AP or a watchman.
Yeah.
You can find, the other day I met this traditional practitioner, one of the first I interacted with, and he's like a watchman. Somewhere in Ngong. And I was shocked because he has this root that is so powerful.
Yeah.
And what was happening is, he's getting maybe what he considers good money, 30,000 a month.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, what? This guy shouldn't be here.
No.
At the whole night guarding somebody. He should be developing this.
Yeah.
This whole, and because of that marginalization, his family derives more esteem from him having that job.
Yeah.
From the traditional medicine.
Because they can map directly it's our fees that are being paid by this watchman job. Yeah.
Yes. Then everything else is just like, he treated, like this woman came from Uganda. He'll tell you the story. This woman came, she hadn't had children for 10 years. She'd had 6 miscarriages. Sasa ibu muangalie. In fact, sasa yuko hapo tuko nje. You just find a 6-month pregnant woman.
What?
He's talking about her so casually.
Yeah.
Alafu mwingine alitumwa na sister yake, sijui alikuwa Tanzania, aliambiwa kutoka South Africa. He tells you these incredible stories. Nikamwambia tu anipatie 5,000. Huyo tu nikamwambia nipatie 2,000. Nipatie 2,000 niende kwa msituni nilete hiyo dawa.
Yeah.
So you can see it's like, so it's magical. For me it was magic.
Yeah.
Just sitting there listening to him. And my mind was just like wow. And then he told me nikuwekea kilo ngapi? 2. I told him put 100 kilos. He was like, hey, wewe ni mwenda wazimu kidogo. Okay. Kuna 20,000. I told him niko na hiyo pesa hapa. Give me that. I told him give me that thing, I'm going to find out more. Type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's really the element of impact. How much more can you impact certain generation who have so much knowledge, but by making them useful to society again.
In the context of giving that exact knowledge that they have.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. With regard to, because again, the thing that you've been saying, where like people didn't know the capacities of the knowledges that they had, and you're able to, there's things that you're able to give back to them in that regard. So how has Harriet's Botanicals been able to tell these people how deeply valuable the knowledges they have, the access to natural resources, and the ways they use these natural resources sustainably, and especially with regard to sustainability, because it would be very easy to just realize, oh, people are coming for Araret, so let's but then like that, all of that, and finding a balance between all of those knowledges, having this knowledge, using it responsibly. What kind of conversation does HB have with the community directly for those reasons?
So we run these community engagement sessions because there was a time everybody was cutting their tenduit tree for me. You know, people who didn't know me, they just heard about me, and then they would just come to the village and ask, wapi huyo msichana anatoka wapi? And there'd be people coming in motorcycles and donkeys carrying tenduit like wood.
Wow.
And you're not supposed to harvest traditional medicine like that. You're not supposed to cut down the tree. You know, you're supposed to like just take some of the top branches and make sure that it renews itself.
Yes, like so you watch the tree to make sure it's growing again before you cut again.
Of course, there was a serious crisis.
Yeah.
And according to the mamas, that's why traditional medicine is secret.
Yes.
Because they said, umetaja jina. That's a mistake. So watu wanajua. People who are not practitioners know. But I tell them, if you don't tell people what this is, you cannot help a lot of people. This secret kind of like way that you hide all this information is the reason the practice is dying. And because people don't respect that methodology anymore, they'll go to like medical journals and read about other medication. Then they will ignore you and they will not spend money in the right places.
And they should be spending money on you.
Exactly. You'll end up giving up this forest for firewood. When you can't make money off your tenduit, you cut it down for 8,000 shillings. I'm like, one tenduit is worth like 1 million shillings, right? So these are some of the conversations that we're having all the time. We take our kiosk with us so that you can show, and we take bottles of dawa as well, and then we give them out. So then we want to be able to show, this is what you got out of your farm. This is the product. And this is what the shop looks like. Then they can see the branding. And they're like, ni kampuni ya ukweli. In fact, they're like, ni kama Safaricom. Ni kampuni ya ukweli.
That's amazing.
Yes. So you see, being able to show, then I said that's it. Don't lose your resource. Keep growing traditional indigenous trees. Don't start now, someone came and said we grow this instead. Cut all this tenduit. I know there was one time somebody went and cut like 50 mature tenduits to grow avocado. I was stressed.
Oh my gosh.
Then you find them now making bricks. With the wood, with tenduit. I'm like, what have you done? You know? Hii ni ya maduvari. Kwanza hii ni mzuri sana for maduvari. I'm like, no. That is so wrong, what you have just done. Because one tenduit could pay for your children to go to school for a whole entire year.
It could.
Yes, it could. And then you can slow down, because the same people now don't have to destroy the forest. They don't have to be there following the avocados to make sure they grow. Yeah, they don't. I mean, but even the only way you can preserve the forest, like Mount Forest Aberdares, is if they are getting something of value, but at the same time encouraged to keep it. Yes. Right? So how else, I see the EU and everybody else trying to tell people, don't cut the forest to plant potatoes. I'm like, well, the one way you can do it is show them the value for them in those trees. And I'm telling you, you won't have to say it again. No, because people need to see value. Yes. If they see no value, they're like, what do you mean? You're sitting in Nairobi. You're just talking from an office. Yes, absolutely. But if they know this particular tree or this particular root, it can even be exported, and this is what we get, as a community. Oh, this is who it's helping. This deals with endometriosis. This deals with miscarriages. This deals with what? That forest will be there forever. Because that's one thing my mother said to me. I said, won't we finish the trees? She said, have you noticed they're not finished? She's like, they've been here. They're going to outlive you, Harriet. I was like, seriously, me, this forest will outlive you. And now I understand what it is that she meant. Yes. Let's talk about now, once you got the grant, and then the process of the grant being managed and what have you, because sometimes people forget that grant money doesn't just come and then everybody says goodbye. Exactly. So usually there's like a grant management process. There's a way that you have to kind of show that, okay, this is what the grant money is doing, etc. So what was that process like for you? Did you meet any challenges?
in that process, were there things that you would rather not have done, but you did them because it was for the purposes of the grant? And please feel free to say, because even us, we are very aware on the HEVA side that these things are challenging,
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
because grants are deeply conditional.
Yes, they are.
And they have to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what a lot of people fail to understand, even people who say, let's apply for a grant for this. Then I'm like, no, but it doesn't work like that. And I don't want a grant that makes me do something I don't think I should be doing for the sake of receiving money.
Yeah.
And I always tell people that money isn't ours, Whatever amount, it could be, let's use a metaphorical figure, 1 million shillings comes into the business for a grant. Trust me, that 1 million shillings, if you utilize it correctly, it is for that purpose. And it's really well thought through. It's not too much, it's not too little, right? Yeah. So you have to be very clear on how you're going to use your time, because time is money.
Yeah.
You could be in the business making money, but you have to administer this grant. You have to give out the money.
Yeah.
Then you have to account for it.
Yeah.
And then it has to have meaning. It has to do something. You can't just give it out and it does nothing.
Yes.
It's just money's just hanging somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's having a good time, but they don't do the work.
Yeah.
So really, when you apply for a grant, you're actually applying for work. You are a lot of responsibility, right? And it's literally accounting for that money, making sure it goes in the right direction, making sure the project works. Because sometimes you'll receive money and it's just so overwhelming. You don't know what's going on and the project fails.
Yeah.
Then what would have been the point?
Yeah.
You have to be very clear with what your goals are, how you're going to allocate your time, how you're going to allocate your team's time, and you're going to actually work doubly harder than when you didn't have it. Then of course you've got to do the accounting process to the people who gave you the money.
Yeah.
Because they don't live in your factory or in your environment to understand what you are going through with this person or this organization or this CBO which didn't do their work, or these people who turned up 5 days late. They don't. So you have to really understand how you're going to communicate.
Yeah.
So communicating back is critical.
Yeah.
And if you're having challenges, just state them early.
Yeah.
Just say, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm going to mitigate that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of you see, you're now playing the role of managing the grant, but managing your relationship with the grantors as well.
Yes.
And then after that, you have to write the report.
Yeah.
And the report will annoy the hell out of you.
It's true.
It's true. They'll be like, list 100 beneficiaries. You'll be like, oh my God, I didn't even take their phone numbers. Who are they? I say, there was Rachel in Kapletundo. There was, why didn't I write down their full names? But now you'll know, when somebody checks in, community engagement, full name, their age, gender, you're now being very specific. And who are they? Or they're a practitioner.
Yeah.
And where have they come from? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So sort of experience teaches you to start putting together your information early, right? Otherwise, you're just going to be in a hot mess at the end. You will get it done, but it'll stress you out. But then you begin to now understand how grantors are thinking, because then they're like, look, we gave you the money. Who did you impact?
Yes.
You can't just say that you went to, Sigilai village and women were happy. No, they're like, which women? And you'd be like, oh, well, look, these 300 of them. I have them on an Excel spreadsheet with their phone number, so you can contact them to double check. And then now you start learning to sort of like go over and above, because you do want future grant money. You're going to need money to do another project. So you better be very clean on this one type of thing. Don't take any shortcuts. I find people find it very easy to say, well, if they gave me 1 million, what if I just take 200,000 and pay my car off? You're making a big mistake, I'm telling you, because you need that 200,000 to complete that grant. So there's so much like misinformation. People hear the grant, they think it's free money. There is no such thing, type of thing.
I mean, even money from your family is not going to be free.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And once you understand that, then you will be more intentional and more focused on, okay, fine, the money is coming. By this time, we must have done this. No messing around, no thinking that we're so special now, no like, oh my God, we're going to celebrate. Nothing like that. Like, let's get it done. Type of thing.
What are your plans? And I guess we're kind of winding up now. What are your plans for Harriet's Botanicals with regards to looking for future grant money? Are you clear about, if I got future grant money, this is exactly what I would do with it?
Yes.
And what are your growth plans in general?
Okay, if I got grant money, and I am applying, definitely, because I want to do expansion of the shops, of the retail outlets. I really feel we need proper retail presence. And when I see companies like Vivo or companies like Safaricom, I notice they have a retail presence in key cities.
Yes.
In Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Nakuru, in Eldoret, somewhere in Northeastern, maybe in Meru, maybe in Nyeri.
Yeah.
So I came to understand this is important, because in as much as you think you're somewhere in CBD getting to people feel that you're not reaching them.
Yeah.
You have to get to the people. That's when I want to expand in East Africa, so we can also have this cultural exchange, because like Eritrea has so much incredible traditional medicine.
Yeah.
So I really believe even Rwanda, I mean DRC is unbelievable, Tanzania. So I feel that if we have a presence as Miti Shamba from Kenya, we can have that exchange of information.
Absolutely.
Develop more products, and their products can come here.
Yeah.
So then we end up creating this like Pan-African sort of like traditional medicine.
Apothecary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that if you want medicine that's, I heard that there's this root from Tanzania which does it. Well, we have it here in Kigali. Do you see? Oh, I was in Addis and I bought something that is actually from Cameroon.
Yeah.
And it's well packaged, it's well resourced, it's well researched, it's well thought through. And I can always go back. If I feel like it did something crazy to me, I will find that person.
Yeah.
There's a phone number, they're on the internet, there's a website.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's traceable, it's trackable. So then we can say people are not being poisoned somewhere.
Yeah.
Like you don't have this concoction of things that is killing people somewhere.
Yeah.
So, traceability, scale, expansion, that cultural exchange, then it's like it stimulates economic growth.
Absolutely.
Because this thing is ours.
Yeah.
It will grow again.
Yeah.
The trees and the shrubs will grow again. It's not like we go and harvest a whole mountain of gold and the gold is done.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's it.
Yeah.
But this is really serious, sustainable work, and lots of people can get into it. And the more we develop our research capacity, our retail capacity, then now we have people who are trained in a specific way, and we develop like a very unique skill set that is uniquely African.
Yeah.
Right. And then now we're competing on a global platform.
Yes.
Just like the people who prescribe Chinese medicine.
Yep.
Somebody who gives you Don Quai in Chinatown.
Yep.
Now you're going to give them, Arorwet.
Yes, you will.
In Johannesburg. You're in Johannesburg and you're a retailer of something from Rwanda.
Yeah.
That is actually going to the US. So, I mean, for me, that's really the broader picture.
Yeah.
It's part of sort of what I call my Africa Rising initiative. The African Renaissance is here and we're it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's
amazing. I think what's been so beautiful is just kind of seeing how much need there is.
Yeah.
And while phrases like on the ground are overused these days, but how much need there is literally in people's lives.
Oh, yes.
The help gaps that are there, and the possibilities, because there's so much stuff that's just been kept quiet for multiple reasons, and that it's very possible to have the kind of relationship with these natural resources and with their stakeholders, with their custodians, that is a sustainable and ethical relationship.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be like this violent capitalist extraction.
It doesn't.
That then somebody comes and then now that route is no longer there.
Exactly.
Because somebody came and cleared the whole forest in the name of storing so that they can be the sole proprietor of X and Y and Z.
Because that's the thing, traditional knowledge belongs to all of us.
It does.
The forest is our mother.
Yeah.
If you live next to Kakamega Forest, I can't stop you going in there.
No.
Learning about the herbs, using some of them for yourself and your family.
And selling them.
Selling some.
Yeah.
So that it's like stimulating sort of like a very open platform type economy and a circular economy at that.
Yeah.
Like
a commons.
Absolutely. And when you talk about the need, people ask me, do you have anything for high blood pressure? Do you have anything for rheumatoid arthritis? And I have to say no, and people get surprised that I say no.
Yeah.
I think they think I should say, of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
I think people are used to being scammed in this kind of way.
Okay, I think so.
Yeah.
Because they think I should be able to. I said, no, I've actually only developed 3 products. And it's taken me 3 years
to develop those ones.
So I'm like, give me a few more years.
Yeah.
I will develop others depending on the resources I have, even in terms of time.
Yeah.
But there's no way I'm going to say have a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
Which is why we need the cultural exchange, even with other people.
Yes.
If somebody else develops something for rheumatoid arthritis, cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will buy the product.
Because you can't honestly say that you will develop everything for every single disease.
You can't.
Yeah.
And that is then now that whole thing of unity, we need each other.
Yeah.
And we need the different communities.
Absolutely.
The different pantheons of herbs, the different combinations, the different formulas, the different experiences, the different knowledge that is stored in all the wazes and the wamamas.
Yeah.
when you put it all together, it's just unbelievable.
It'll be magic.
Yes.
Absolute magic.
Absolute magic.
Yeah.
Sour.
This has been a lovely conversation. I'm so
you.
excited. I'm
Thank
really,
you.
really excited for Harriet's Botanicals.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely be continuing, first of all, to push your product because it works.
Thank you.
And also products push themselves when they work.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't have to be standing shouting that Arorette works when the people are shouting for you.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, we're continually wishing you well and hoping that you get every cent of all the grant money that you need.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Have a lovely day, Harriet.
You too. Asante.
Yeah.